Morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Great. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you taking time to invest in yourself and your business. Did anybody travel over 30 minutes away today? Anybody over an hour away today? Oh my goodness. Great. Well, thank you for making a real investment of time in yourself and your business. In doing research, getting ready for the event today, did you know that last year in 2024 was the lowest number in units in the United States in the last 30 years? Yeah. Did you know that in 2025, we're projected to have almost the same number of units? Has anybody felt like things have been a little tighter in the last couple of years? Is anybody having a more difficult year than they did before? No, but everybody must be doing great in here. What the heck? Right? Is it harder? Yes. Yeah, well, guess what? That's about 2 years of pain, 2 years of contraction, 2 years of things changing, 2 years of things not maybe being quite as easy as they were. So who in here is having a record year? Anybody? A few? I saw a couple of brand new agents. They're having their best year ever. That's great. Anyway, the last 7 or 8 years, I've talked about this in several of the presentations and a lot of our training and a lot of our training videos and all of our in-house stuff that we do. But we went through a real boom. We went through the recession of 08 through 10, and then things just took off. But in the last 30 years, from the high water mark in terms of units in the United States, we're back 40 to 45% in units in terms of a pullback. Yet, we have the most number of agents we've ever had in the industry. My former partner, Larry, who's in the house over here, Larry Phillips. Larry, thanks for coming. He just told me the other day he's been tracking Upstart stats for at least 30 years. Larry, is that fair? The number of agents in our local board membership here went down for the first time that he can remember. So during this last 7 or 8 years, things ballooned. Lots more agents, lots more business. Things got easier. Everybody rushed into the market, and then all of a sudden, the market pulled back, right? We've dealt with inflation, rates went up, everything cooled off. And so now for the last 18 months, almost to 2 years, we've been dealing with a market with fewer fish in the pond, right? Fewer deals. And would everybody agree that the dynamics have changed? Right? Okay, so how have they changed? A few things. The market, did it not start to reward speed more than skill? How many people, if you didn't run out during dinner when you got a text to look at a new listing, if you didn't throw your fork down and throw on your jacket and run out the door, you were going to lose a deal, right? It was speed. And then you got there and you were one of 8 people waiting to get in the house that night, or you couldn't look until the next morning and your people were pissed and they thought it was your fault, and then you wrote an offer and you were between 5 and 15 offers and then they lost it. And you were churning your wheels. The market was responding to speed. The problem is skill didn't seem to matter so much. You just needed to get in there quicker. Now, some skill did help. Skill always matters. But the market got so overheated, it was all about speed. Would it also be safe to say that the market started to respond to marketing more than mastery? Who could be louder? We always talk about being louder in your market. I'm going to talk about that today. But being louder didn't always mean you were better. Who would agree agents have gotten busier, but they're not necessarily better at what they're doing? I see hands all over the place. Are we in the time of information overload? Who gets on the TikTok rabbit hole or never comes out? It's so easy. Facebook. The other thing that I find interesting is most agents are super competitive, right? So when you go online and you're looking, don't you see what everybody else is doing? Does it drive you crazy? Are you competitive? They're killing it, and I'm struggling. It's usually not true, by the way. Everybody's got their best foot forward, and you don't see what's really happening. But it's information overload. I talked to somebody just yesterday about this event. There's some other training events going on in the market right now. And was it a coincidence or not? Are there agents from other companies? This is open to the entire market. They made a comment like, I wonder if they're sending moles in to see what you guys are doing. I'm like, well, they can send as many molds as they want. There's no secrets. We're just here to train and help people, which is what success in real estate is all about. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But my point is, and I'm going to get into mindset and having an abundance growth mindset, but if you do what you're supposed to do, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. And any time that you end up spending on all this noise, and this is all noise, thanks to Melissa for this graphic. It perfectly lays it out. Yeah. Cell phones, computers, high-tech devices, email, data, autoresponders. We did a training on AI. It's overwhelming. It creates overwhelm, and what's overwhelm do for most of us? It paralyzes us. Too big of goals, too much input, you can't deal with it. Moving forward, things are going to change. When you get into situations like that, it paralyzes you from being effective and doing some of the things that really matter. Instant messaging, reports, spam, data. It never stops. Does anybody here use the do not disturb feature on their phones? Yeah, I see about maybe 20%. I've just started trying to use it more because my phone never stops and it drives me nuts. So, in all of this, there's something that I think has gotten lost. In booming markets, it hurts brokers. I'll talk about my background in a minute. It hurts you. Speed matters more to the consumer than your skill sets, right? And in a time of contraction, where things slow down and the pressure stops, we're getting back to some different times. And there's one little thing that I think has been lost in all this crazy town that we've been in for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And if you look at the screen, there's a little word on the bottom right corner, and it's trust. So today, I'm here to talk about a few of these things. But would everybody agree, raise your hand if it's tougher now than it was, even if you're having a good year? Things are slower. Okay. Well, I appreciate you being here. Real quick, I think most of you do know me, but if you don't, my name's Todd Stock. I'm the broker owner of RE/MAX here in Northeast Indiana, RE/MAX Results. I, along with my leadership team, also run Success in Real Estate, which is our real estate training and collaboration platform. This is a Success in Real Estate event. I want to give a big shout out to Melissa Schneider. She's up there in the booth. She helped make all this stuff happen. My team's amazing. Jacqueline Myers is down here in front. Many of you know Jacqueline. She does training tips and videos with me. Hannah, who's in the back here as well. She's going to be running mics today. So much of what we do, I have amazing people behind me. But this event is all about trying to help you be better in your life and in your business. So I talked to several of you who haven't been to events before. My goal for every event, every training meeting, everything we do in our office, whether it's an accountability group or a session, anything like this, is that you get 1 or 2 ideas you can take out of here and put in place in your life or your business. That's it. I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff today. It's not going to be a super specific one area like on AI. It's going to be about the real estate world, your business, and what really matters. And I'm going to try to cut through all the noise and help you leverage a few things that you can be leveraging. But I think when your philosophy and your mindset isn't right on what really matters, you're going to find yourself chasing rainbows, getting confused, overwhelmed, and in the end, really being disappointed with the business. And so that's what I'm here to talk about. I've been in real estate for almost 30 years. I've been a top producing agent. I had a team. I've been an owner now for 21 years, and I've trained and coached agents for 21 years. I love it. It's my passion. Love to help people. And I've seen a lot of things over the last 20 years. I've had amazing partners and people in my life that had a big impact on me, and I'm always trying to give it back. I'm always trying to learn more. But one of the things as we've come through all this, and I've had to reinvent myself now 2 or 3 times in my career, and that's going to be part of the process for you, is this. One of my favorite mentors and philosophers and business coaches, Jim Rohn, said, there are no new fundamentals. And after we've come through all this, and I'm meeting with agents daily and weekly, I'm not a public speaker. I'm a broker owner. I'm in the trenches, and I coach and train agents every day. It's what I do. I've been in 6 meetings in the last 3 weeks about people struggling. But what I have found is that there are no new fundamentals to the business. There are lots of new ways to accomplish and lean into the fundamentals. But at the end of the day, this is a people business. It's a relationship business. It's not about homes. I'm going to talk about that too. So today I'm going to talk about some of the fundamentals that are going to have a major impact on you and your business moving forward. And if you don't lean into them, you're going to continue to struggle. Before I go any further, I want to thank Hallmark Home Mortgage. They've been a big sponsor of these events. These events are not cheap. The Mural Center, this facility, their crew, their IT team, they're amazing. The food, the venue, it's first class. We love it. They're tremendous. But without Hallmark supporting us to do these things, we couldn't do them. So I want to give a big shout out and thanks to them. Big shout out and thanks to my team. Shout out and thanks to all of you for being here. But I want to say this, skills do matter. You know, Jacqueline and I are always out looking for high character people to grow in our company. The lifeblood of any brokerage is recruiting and attracting talent. But you don't really go get talent to join you, you attract talent. The same is true for you in your business. The lifeblood of your business is business development and lead generation, and it's relationships. It's not deals. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a hunter mindset and a farming mindset, and a transactional mindset and a relational mindset today. And lots of people have success both ways, but I want to make sure you're really clear on the path you're on, what it really means to you and what it's all about. So I want to say this, skills matter. So if I could have all my runners get to your stations, please. And then Shannon, if you could come up. So one of the things I want to do a little bit different. So somebody I just talked to in the back, I think it was Shar. Shar, it's so great you're here. I don't know where you are. I haven't seen you in a long time. Wonderful agent, been a top agent for many years. But I want this event to be more interactive. I've had national speakers in and coaches, and we've done panels. But I have 3 different segments today slotted for you to share. Questions, comments, etc. So here's what we're going to do right now. I have runners everywhere. If you have something you want to share, I really want you to raise your hand, and we're going to document those, and we're going to make sure we address them. But what are your biggest challenges right now? When I said who's challenged right now, I would say 2/3 of the room raised their hand. So I know you've got some stuff out here. So who wants to be brave and get started? All right, Jennifer, thanks.
I would say one of the challenges we're facing is the market's cooled off, so prices aren't elevating. Sellers still kind of in the phase of learning about that. Is competing with other agents who don't know as much about price. Right. And they're willing to write full price, even though you really look at the property and say, here's the comps, it's not worth what they're asking. You come in with a lower offer. Inexperienced agents come in with full price offer, and the farm, and it's hard to compete when you know a lot. It's hard to pay a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so competing with maybe clients with unrealistic expectations. Anybody have anything else? Yeah, Jamie.
I think making sellers aware of the changing market and what that means as far as dollars and cents, time on market, just setting an expectation for those sellers that is realistic.
Yes. Did everybody hear that? Sellers, pricing expectations, managing those expectations. We had a slide, we've shown it, I think, in 2 or 3 events. It's of buyers here and sellers here. And they seem to be their expectations seem to be getting further apart right now. When you're in a market transitioning, either way, they're always slow to move, right? Everybody wants the best case scenario. I want top dollar, and the buyer's like, the market's trashed right now. I'm going to get a good deal. And all of a sudden, you have 2 people who were this close 6 months ago, and now they're even further apart in their expectations. And how do you manage that? So, great one, Jamie. We're going to talk about that a little bit today as well. Who else has anything they want to share? What are you struggling with? What's hard right now? What's more difficult than it was a year or 2 ago?
Todd, I'm still seeing first-time buyers struggle with the ability to even afford a house that's decent for them.
Affordability.
And like USDA buyers and FHA buyers, and it just seems like sometimes they don't stand a chance. So.
Okay. Affordability. Yes.
Inflated assessed values and educating the seller that the assessed value doesn't necessarily mean it's rooted in current reality.
Right. Okay. Assessed values, sellers, unrealistic expectations. Anybody else? What about the buyer agency agreements? That just all rolled out last year. It's amazing how quiet that is now, right? By the way, we were all in here a year ago, but like Armageddon was about to hit. And now it's pretty good. It's like, yeah, it's business as usual. But I saw, was there a hand back here? Yeah, Tug.
Piggybacking or combining perhaps part of what Jennifer asked and Jamie, we tend to be, and I don't know about everybody here, but one of the things I love about our culture is professionalism. So I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. However, when we do have on the other side of a transaction, whether it's a listing or a buyer agent who is new and clueless because they've come through this, all you had to do was rush out and write up an offer and it got accepted. How do we as professionals educate our sellers with this assessed values or competition and do it graciously? I'm not a real gracious person, as many of you would know, but how do we do it graciously when the other side is just not getting it?
Yeah. When you're dealing with a difficult agent on the other side, agents getting in the way. We've done some training on that. I want to make sure when we get to the, there is a segment today on managing buyer and seller expectations. We address some of those things. So, yeah, so a little bit of challenge right now is there's a lot of people in the business that weren't trained properly. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been on where we're meeting with an agent maybe to coach and get to know them a little bit. And we ask them about how'd their training go, how was their onboarding? And they said, well, I didn't really get any, but I go to YouTube when I need to learn how to do something. I mean, if you're me and from my culture and what we do and what we're all about, I mean, I almost pass out and fall off my chair because it's just so sad, right? I mean, the consumer needs to be served at a higher level. And so we've heard it multiple times. They learn by YouTubing. And this is a belly-to-belly live relationship business, and your skill sets with people matter significantly. And as we move forward, you're going to start to see these skill sets. The people with the skills are going to win a lot more than the ones who don't. They're going to lose deals. So, okay, thanks for sharing, Tug. Anybody else? Anything? Yeah, Megan.
So I'm new, so I don't know that this is new for anyone else, but because I'm new, I know that my junk calls, my spam, I have health insurance people, I have so much communication being thrown at me now that I'm a realtor that is a waste of time, energy, and even just to delete. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Filtering out, tuning out all the noise is really tough. And you got to find ways to do that with your own systems and hacks. There's some software that will do it now. I haven't used it. I got to get it. Folio, we actually have it. It will throw all your email and filter it and throw what you need in areas for you to read it and gets rid of everything else. So we actually have that for free. So we can talk to you about that. Yes, Greg.
Even in a cooling market, being relentlessly consistent with setting and meeting marketing goals every month is still an irritation and not a fun thing to do, but it's got to get done.
Yeah.
That's still difficult.
So minimum standards of things that you know move the needle in your business. It's great. It's tough to do, right? Because you got interruptions and it's crazy business. Okay, anybody else? Anything else you want to share that you're struggling with right now? Okay, I'm sure there's more. I'm going to keep moving right now. So, okay, thanks for sharing all that. I'm going to make sure we try to address as much of this as we can. So today is all about reclaiming this lost art of selling real estate and what's it all really about. So everything you just heard is a lot to do with what didn't matter so much for a long time because all you had to do was run out and write offers. Everybody was getting improved, rates were low, and speed mattered. And so today's all about that. We were in a meeting last week, and I won't say who it was with, but we had a great meeting, a coaching meeting and getting to know somebody. And they had a great year last year, and they were really struggling this year. And they actually shared a story with Jacqueline and I that they were just down in the dumps, And when you're down, guess what you don't do? All the things you're supposed to do. And I think it got to about February, almost March, and they were like, their husband finally said, you know what? She got the kick in the butt she needed. But pro athletes don't talk about their season last season. Last season's over. And so what's required of you to win today is not, for her, was not, might be a little bit different than it was before. This is what I'm seeing right now, is what was required of you all to win for a long time is not the same thing now. And guess what? It's hard for everybody to shift back to doing some things. And things are slower and they take longer. And quite frankly, some things were harder, but most things were easier. That's why we had 1.7 million realtors in real estate, right? We're going to go get the easy money. This is great. The unicorn years made agents pretty lazy on the fundamentals. You were busy, life was crazy, you're running around working hard, but you weren't necessarily working hard, or most agents, on the fundamentals. And that's what today is all about. It's about getting people recalibrated and refocused on what really matters. Who in the room has been in the business less than a year? Okay. So lucky you don't even have to worry about it, right? Who's been in the business for 3 years or less? Who's been in the business for 5 years or less? Who's been in the business longer than 5 years? Aha. Who's been in the business longer than 10 years? Longer than 15 years? 20 years? 30 years? All right. 40 years. These are the survivors, everybody. Yeah, they could deal with anything. They all have 9 lives. Anyway, hats off to them, but they've seen it all too. I think there's some people in here who've been in the business more than 50 years. But in terms of resilience and all those things, those are what really matter. Here's the deal. Selling real estate is all about relationships, but it's about connections and trust and not all the gimmicks. All the tools that we have, and I'll get into some of them, they're great, but they still need to be able to create connection and trust with your database, with people that you meet, whether they're a Zillow lead or they're one of your people that you're loving on your database. If you can't create connection and trust, you're going to lose them. You're not going to get referrals from them. And I don't care how you do it. You can send personal text videos. We'll talk about use chat and send them a weekly email. You can do pop buys. You can do all these things. But if you don't get there, you're not going to win in the business. You're going to be super transactional. And in the business now where we're at the lowest number of units that it's been and the most number of agents, the people who are buying leads and are going that route, it's gotten exponentially harder and worse than it was before because there's fewer deals and more agents still. And so those are watered down even more than they were during the boom. And so at some point you need to embrace this. At some point, that's the deal. Who in here has been in the business more than 10 years? Okay, several of you. Raise your hand if you would agree the relationships that you now have drive your business. Yes, all the hands went up. So I need you to think about that. In a normalized market, it's great for committed agents. We talk about this all the time. We want to hire people that are committed. It fits our culture. It fits what we do. It fits our fee structure. People who are all in, this is great. But a normalized market exposes skill gaps. So all the struggle, all the challenge that you're hearing about right now, it's because you maybe don't have some skills that you need or you forgot. I forgot to mention this at the beginning. You may not hear anything you've never heard before today. But the truth is you don't really need taught anything, most of you, especially those of you who've been in the business more than 10 years. But you do need reminded from time to time, myself included, on what I ought to be doing. I mean, anytime someone's struggling and you sit down and meet with them, maybe in a coaching session or business planning session, most of the time if I just said, all right, hey, like let's say I'm meeting with Phil. Phil had a bad quarter, 6 months or whatever. Phil, before we get into all this, I got all your numbers here, your stats. I got your average commission range, number of listings taken, all the stuff. I got it right here. What do you really think's missing? I guarantee you he will know. And if we went back and looked at your calendar and where you invested your time, the map gets real clear on why you are where you are right now. And so the skill gaps, the habit gaps, the things you quit doing, those are the things that are going to surface right now in a market like we're in. So many of you have heard me say this many, many times. The growth of your business is always inside your business, not outside your business. I've heard tons of trainers and speakers say this. You need to cast a wider net. You need to go get more leads. Early in the game, it means something a little bit different. But the growth of your business is inside your business, not outside your business. There are very few people, I would argue, in this room that are absolutely creating the condition with their own people that they need to at the level that they should to have the business of their dreams. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But what we do is, going deeper, not wider, is harder. It takes more time. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? So we'll get into some of those habits. But for almost everyone, the relationships you have in your life, your friends, your family, your database, your church, your social network, it's all right in front of you, and you just don't know it, or you don't know how to tap into it. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. But the growth of your business is inside your business. Okay. Interesting concept. When I was preparing for this, I wanted to share this today, especially coming out of this time where all the stuff we were doing isn't working the same anymore. Has anybody ever heard of the sunk cost fallacy? It's an economic term, but applies to everything in life. We cling to the broken systems and the clients because we've invested in them. So who in here, and I want to see some hands right now, who in here spent so much time with a buyer that's never going to buy, but by God, when they want to go look again, you still go look because I've spent 8 weekends with them, and I'm not going to let some other hoodlum go sell them a house. Exactly. That's the sunk cost fallacy. And how many of you knew if you didn't get lucky with them the first weekend, you probably weren't going to sell them anything anyway? You just knew it. But you kept hanging on. You kept investing in them. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. How many people have listed a home that they knew the seller's they weren't bona fide. They weren't ready, willing, and able. We talk about this all the time. They were maybe 2 of the 3, but they were not all 3. How many in here have kept a listing longer than they should have on a listing that was never going to sell? Yeah, because you were invested in it. I paid Dustin, $400 to video the thing, and I've been marketing it, and I've done 4 open houses. I got to get this thing sold. I'm going to hang on until I get it sold. But the seller is not in a position in their life where they're really going to sell the home. If you do, you're just lucky, but they're not bona fide. I thought this was a great statement, and I want to share it with everybody. Amateurs defend their habits. Professionals pivot. That's tough to do, right? Because we're proud. Nobody likes to say they're wrong. Pride gets in the way. I'm invested. I don't want to give up on it because then I'd be a failure, right? I've said this every time I've ever spoken about, whenever anybody asks me or I speak about what I would have done differently back when I started, I absolutely, after all the coaching and all the years I've been doing this, I would have stinking failed faster earlier. I would have gotten rejected more, tried more things, and gotten after it a lot quicker, and it would have accelerated my own personal growth and my business's growth. So I want to say that to you. Be willing to cut it loose. But professionals are willing to do that. They're willing to make quicker decisions. One time I got up here on stage and I talked about how some of the most highly effective people make decisions at a rate of 3 to 4 times faster than those who don't. They probably fail more, but they get where they want to go more. And they have this resilience and toughness about just dealing with the failure, right? One of my favorite quotes, and now I'm going to quote Larry on this in the back, winners lose more than losers lose. Chew on that for a little bit. Winners lose more than losers lose. They try more. They get rejected more, but they win more. You can't have both. It's part of the equation. Winning and having a great business, part of that is losing more business and having people go buy another house on a Sunday when they wanted to look, when they were working with you, and even though there's a buyer broker agreement, oh geez, I'm so sorry. Did that really matter that I signed that thing? I feel terrible. I'll make sure I tell everybody else to call you. I don't need to pay you that, right? But my point is, that's a loss. How do you deal with the loss? But winners lose more than losers lose. So in terms of pivoting and letting go of this sunk cost fallacy, it's a really significant thing. And so I want to mention that. I'm going to have Shannon come up here in a minute. I want to talk about this for a second. But one of the things that you need to embrace right now moving forward, or you're not going to be in the business in a couple years or a year, is that you need to start playing more offense. You need to start being more proactive in what you're doing on a daily basis. Sounds so cliche, it's old school, but the reality is for the last 5 to 7 years, everybody's been able to be really reactive and get away with it. Speed mattered, skill didn't matter so much. Your DMs, your texts, Zillow, in our company, the Lead Concierge program, all these things are things coming at you. You need to go create it. My dad, who's been in the business 55 years, he's in the back of the room right now, by the way. My mother, maybe 40 or 45. He used to tell me when I first started in the business, and I've never forgot it, and for years my old flip phone, when I'd open it up, it would say this to me. It was, make it happen. The truth is, you didn't have to make a whole lot happen for a while, but guess what? Moving forward, you're going to have to make things happen. And if you don't have this mindset of what am I going to go create, what bushes am I going to shake, what kind of people am I going to pour into, you're not going to have nearly as much happen and you're going to struggle. You need to wake up with the mindset of what can I make happen and go create it. I'm going to talk about mindset for a second. I talked about this a little bit ago. I'm going to piggyback on the whole winners lose more than losers lose. Has anybody ever heard the growth mindset? There's a book out called The Growth Mindset. It's amazing. We do this in all of our accountability groups. We have several of you who are in them. We just finished one up. But there's a concept of, when I say fail faster, in so many ways with the right mindset, you never fail. You just learn, right? Everybody's heard that. But here's a constant, here is a loop you need to be running in your head every time things happen. You don't need to get your feelings hurt. Sometimes it does sting, and you got to lay down and bleed a little bit and get back up, and you lose a client. But here's what you need. Here's the loop you need to be running in your head. What went well? What got in the way? And what would I do differently next time? If you write that down and you attack your business and your life just every week, every day, and you get punched in the nose or you fall down or somebody says something bad about you or they leave you and you're really upset about it, which is hard, whatever it is, what went well, what got in the way, why didn't I get where I wanted to go, why did I lose the client, and next time, what would I do differently? There's a lesson in so much of this. And mindset, anyone I've ever been around that has really just been a real high achiever in life, they have got a tremendous mindset. It's the hidden skill set nobody thinks about. So Tyler was up here a couple months ago talking about AI with a lot of tangible things. I'm telling you right now, your mindset will impact your business more than anything. It's your attitude, but it's your mindset. There's an old equation. How you respond to the event determines the outcome, not the event. How you respond to events determines the outcome, not the event. When I see people that get in a bad way in life, most of the time they've had setbacks or things happen to them. Could be an illness, things out of their control. And most of the time, bad things can be out of your control. But it derails them from doing all the things that matter. And you don't get off track in a day. Jim Rohn used to say, failure happens subtly. It's the little things. You had a terrible client and they just beat you down and you didn't do anything for 3 or 4 days. And then when you went back to work, you forgot a couple of the little things you did every morning and you quit writing some cards and then you just didn't make as many calls as you wanted and you didn't even know you were doing it. You were drifting. It's drift. Drift happens slowly and subtly and you don't even know it until it's too late. Another Jim Rohn analogy, it's like being in a rowboat with no oars and you're 100 feet from Niagara Falls and it's too late. You need to realize a mile upstream or upriver that you're drifting off course and you don't realize it, but it's so subtle. You got to be diligent about it and you need to make sure that however you respond to events, it's okay to get beat down, but you've got to figure out what's the lesson. What went well there? What got in the way? What did I do wrong? What could I do differently next time? By focusing on what I could do differently next time, you're programming your mind to focus on solutions and not dwelling on what went wrong. Who in here has something bad happen and you just dwell on what went wrong? Yeah, it is human nature. And then you beat yourself up. You don't give yourself any grace. And guess what happens? In our world, it takes you to a place emotionally that's really challenging. And then if you're not in a good place right here, how hard is real estate? You're going to have more and more of these things happening right now. But your response to it all, I want to say one more thing. And I heard this recently and I thought it was great. What if, who in here would agree that life is hard? Tough stuff happens, right? I heard this saying and I thought it was great and I want to share it today. What if life doesn't punish you? What if life prescribes for you? So like, what if in all the things that are happening to you, there's a lesson in all of it? Most of the time we don't want to hear the lesson because it's really hard and you got to look in the mirror. What if the struggle with a tough client is like right in front of me? Why is it you go to the doctor and they give you a prescription and you do exactly what they tell you to do? But life's probably prescribing you what you need to be doing all the time and you're not listening, you're not paying attention. I bombed this listing presentation. I wasn't prepared. I overpriced it. And then 3 months later, they wanted to fire me and I found out they were running me down at a dinner party that overlaps with my social circle. That's the real deal right there. And that stinks. And that affects your reputation, your credibility. So there's prescription there, right? And the way to figure out what the prescription is what went well, what got in the way, and what would I do differently next time? That's the deal. So you need to take a little bit of time to be introspective on what you're doing, and it affects your mindset big time. So any questions about this mindset? I want to make sure I'm covering everything here. One other thing I want to mention. Who in here has watched all the TED Talks, right? Anybody seen the TED Talks? Google that. Go to YouTube and Google this one if you haven't. Angela Duckworth has a 6 or 7 minute TED Talk on the number one factor attributed to success for successful people, and they did it on students. Why some students are more successful than others. If you're a teacher in here, you've maybe heard this. Amy's probably heard it. It's not IQ. It's not your socioeconomic background. Not your demographic background. It's one thing, and it's grit, perseverance. So that all ties into this whole mindset thing I'm talking about, is your ability to deal with tough stuff, see it through the right lens, take the lesson from it, figure out what's prescribed moving forward. So this is all happening right now. We were down to just about 4 million units last year. At the peak, I think it was just over 7. It's a 44% decrease. You need to figure out what really matters and what the lesson is for you to evolve and become better. So that is the lesson there on mindset. So I want to say this right now. What's one sunk cost behavior in your business that you're holding on to that you know you need to let go of? And so I'm going to have my mic runners run around again. I want to share these things real quick. Anyone? What's something you're doing that you know you need to stop doing that's keeping you from where you want to go?
I have a buyer that's not ready, but would love for me to keep sending them what they're looking for. Like, wants me to keep working for them, even though they're not following up with anything I send them.
Okay. And how do you cut them loose, right? How do you change the expectation? Yeah. Anybody else have anything in here they're doing that they need to eliminate? Tough to share that, maybe. This is what I'm saying, pride comes into the picture. It's tough to look in the mirror and say, I'm doing this and I need to not be doing it anymore. Yeah, Phil.
So I had one happen yesterday. I got a phone call from somebody I've known for a long time. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one, but I need to sell my house because me and my, partner are considering moving to warmer weather. And I got somebody that wants to buy it. First red light, right? Got somebody that wants to buy it, but I don't know what it's worth, so I need kind of an appraisal. And so I had to explain You know, I don't do appraisals. I'm not a licensed appraiser. So we covered that. I said, but I can do a market analysis. And she said, well, that would be fine. And I said, okay, I got some things going on right now, but, you know, when I get 5 minutes. 10 minutes later, I got 17 text pictures of what the house looks like. And it says, I forget how she worded it. As soon as you can, that would be great, or something like that. And I was meeting with another client, and my phone kept going off. And she said, do you need to get, I forgot to turn it off. She said, do you need to get that? Because it kept going bing, 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 all these pictures. I need to put that in proper perspective and politely tell her that my time is very valuable, and I will get to it when I can, but that may not be in the time frame you want. And so that's hard. For me, that's hard to do.
Yeah. Put people in your process, not let them put you in theirs. Right. Jennifer.
I would piggyback with that, and I call it not picking up every stick.
Yeah.
We don't have to serve every client that calls us.
Right.
We can be more, you know, refined in how we determine who is ready and who would be a good fit for us. So you don't have to pick up every stick.
Great analogy. I've never heard that. Another analogy they have in management or sales when you're dealing with somebody who's got problems, but they don't really tie into what you're doing. Everybody heard the saying, not my monkey? They want to put their monkey on your back. You need to be really careful about your time because it's so valuable. And in this time of more noise than ever, you're going to get distracted all the time. You need to make sure you guard it and protect it. So, anybody else? Jennifer, another one. The stick thing, I'm using that. That's good.
I would say, too, not getting on the bandwagon of what everybody is doing.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things that
Yes.
you could be doing, whether it's marketing. So you're like, oh, I farmed that neighborhood for 2 years and I spent $2,000. But did it render anything valuable to you? If it did, continue on. If it didn't, cut it.
Right.
So I think you have to continually be refining that and looking at what your return on investment was.
If you want to figure out a great business plan for next year, I'm going to talk about part of that right now. Go right now back to the last 2 or 3 years, look at everywhere all your business came from, figure out what worked, and double down on what worked, and get rid of everything else and start from scratch. You will do more business from what worked, pour into that, and scrap everything else. Number one. Number two, you got to make sure you're taking care of your database. But right there, where is it coming from? You're probably going to find that it came from past clients in your database, by the way. But if you have other lead sources, that's fine. But if they weren't a great ROI, rule of thumb is 4 to 1 at least. If it's not an ROI of 4 to 1, it's not worth it. Okay, anybody else? Thanks for sharing that. Oh, Phil.
So I'll add something. So social media for me is something that lately I've tried to actually cut back on, not because it's not useful, but because I was finding myself just scrolling in comparison and kind of like what you talked about earlier. So how much time, so designating actual time to be able to hop on. And so I actually moved social media onto my tablet off of my phone so that I have to be intentional about going on and doing something, but then I hop off so that it's not just consuming me. Because it's very easy to consume me.
It's a great idea because you get caught in the rabbit hole. Anybody else? Anything you need to cut loose? All right, I'm going to keep things moving here. Thank you, Shannon. So I want to talk a little bit about your messaging and connecting with people. Thank you all my runners. Anybody heard of this concept, resume virtues versus character virtues? I came across this recently and I felt like I wanted to share it because it ties into marketing, messaging, and connection. We're going to get to buyers and sellers and all that stuff in a minute, but I think when you understand this, it may have a major impact on all your efforts on what you're doing with people and relationships. So, in the book, The Road to Character, David Brooks, we tried to have this to give away today. They didn't show. But there's a QR code here. Recommend the book. He talks about something. I think it's really important. And I think in life it matters as much as anything. I think in our business the last 7-8 years, it mattered less because they needed somebody to run out and show them a house for $100 if they could, right? What do I need you for? Well, let me just talk about this. Resume virtues. your production, how many followers you have, how many designations you have, all the shiny stuff, right? The trophy case. Anybody seen that in the real estate world? Anybody posting about all that stuff? It's very temporary. Character virtues are your integrity, your humility, your consistency. By the way, we'll talk in a minute. You want to build massive trust with somebody, be super consistent with them. Even if it's not great messaging, but you always show up and they know you're going to be there. That, guess what? They can trust you. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. This makes sense because there's a big difference. In my opinion, 70 to 80% of the marketing that I see in the real estate world is all about us. Because we're proud, and it's natural. And I'm in a little bit different role than you. I'm a broker. And one of the most important things I can do is recognize you for your wonderful achievements. You're kicking butt. We have so many amazing people doing amazing things. And they need to be recognized. And in many ways, your clients need to know that you're successful at what you do. So that's all good. But let me ask you this question. I'm going to pick on Amy. She's right in front of me here. So let's say that Bob Cayley over here wins a mega award, career award in real estate, and we post it, and it goes all over the place, and he's recognized. It's a really great thing, and it is a great thing. But Amy knows that Phil Kuhn's daughter was sick, who's 11 months old. Where's Phil? Yeah, 11 months? 6 months old. And she got COVID and was in the hospital last week overnight. She's okay, she's home now. This is a true story, except for the Amy part. But she was. But let's say Amy hears about it and calls Phil and says, I heard about your daughter. Are you doing okay? I know you got all these other kids. Do you guys need a meal, or can I do anything for you or the family? I'm so sorry. I'll keep you on my prayers. Now, you think about that, the value of that interaction and connection versus what maybe we would post about Bob, or maybe Bob posted about himself. Just picking on you, Bob, to make a point. But when you think about resume virtues and character virtues, what do people really care about? And in the old market, maybe less, but right now, they care about how much you care and about who you are as a human. And I think it gets lost. I think it's been lost because the market was about speed and not skill, and about real serious connection. And so I want to make sure this is really clear in all of your marketing and all the things that we share. I've said this many, many times. Meet them where they're at. So every time you go to do a postcard or a mailer or a post or make a phone call, more importantly, or a text or a video, we need to get out of our own way and seeing things through our own prism of what we're dealing with. I heard another analogy. I want to share this, and I think this is really valid where we're going if you want next level communication. And if you want to tap into all the business, the growth of your business is inside your business, not outside, this is the stuff that will really matter. And it's meet them where they're at. So how many people are interested in buying or selling a home right now at any given time in the whole United States? I just read the other day it's maybe 3 to 4% of the population. Maybe. So 3 to 4% of the population is maybe thinking about real estate. That's cool, man. How many days a week are you thinking about real estate? Yeah, so when you call them up, you say, hey, this is Todd. How you guys doing? I thought I would check in. The market right now, have you guys considered doing anything? They're not considering doing anything. Their kid was in the hospital, or they just got a promotion, or they're trying to figure out where the hell they're going for Thanksgiving next week because the family's fighting about it, or when they can get to the grocery store for that, or whatever. Holidays are coming up. Meet people where they're at. Most people are not thinking about real estate. And I can't tell you how many times when we're coaching and working with people on the number of touches and the emotional deposits they need to make with their database, which I'm going to show in just a minute. How many people in here, if I said, hey, you have to call everyone in your database in the next 3 weeks, and I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to check in with you every week. Can you do that? What do you think the first thing I hear is almost every time? Well, excuses, maybe. But it's this, it's fear. Boom, the amygdala fires. Oh my gosh, overwhelm. Pam said it. What do I say? What do I say? I'm telling you right now, I just heard this week. It doesn't matter what you say if you care and you're meeting them where they're at. You don't need to call them about real estate. I hear this. How many people have not done a good job of staying in touch with their past clients and database? Anyone willing to raise their hand? Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times I meet with amazing humans and great agents who have done tons of business, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do this coming year, and they're looking at all these other things, and I'm like, what about all these people? They already liked and trusted you and used you, and you're sitting on a gold mine, but I haven't talked to them forever. And I will say, this person said, I feel so bad, I haven't talked to him in so long. And I said, tell him that. Hey, I wanted to touch base. I've done a terrible job at staying in touch with you. You guys are amazing. I just thought I'd see how the family was doing. How are the kids? How's the house? You might find out they bought another house sometime, by the way. You won't like that. But there's a prescription in that, right? So, but I'm saying just be yourself. Be authentic. Be transparent and connect, because they need to know how much you care. It doesn't matter what you say if you're doing that. Make sense? But meet them where they're at. They're worried about school, grades, holidays, life, family. Got a great analogy I'm going to show here in a minute. Let your marketing speak to who you are personally about your character virtues. If you're able to share marketing and different things that you're doing, showing yourself engaged in your community, doing other things, helping a family with real estate. But real estate is a byproduct of so many things. And for a long time, it was all about the internet and hits and speed. The rates were 2.5%, 3%. We're not going to see that again. And so now it's back to these fundamentals. So let it speak to who you are. And maybe go back and look at your last 50 posts and say, all right, life's prescribing me here. Was it good? Was it not? What was good there? What could I do differently next time? But maybe start thinking about that. I'm going to pick on Eric Rowan here in a minute. He does so many posts with his kids and his wife. It's amazing. They are a window into the guy's character and his family and all they do. It's amazing. And his sphere of influence and his newsletter and his Christmas newsletter, holiday newsletter, it's great. But think about those things, because what you think they want to hear isn't necessarily what they want to hear. You're seeing it from your own perspective. You need to flip the script. So, your real brand is your character as a human. And this may rub some people the wrong way. But your logo and your name or your team name or your catchphrase, they're all great. People might remember them. But I'm going to tell you right now, your brand is who you are as a person. End of story. You can put all the stuff up you want. You can have marketing photos, team photos, you on stage. How you impact them as a person is what really matters. And so this is an old Maya Angelou quote. Melissa actually had it. I thought it was great. I wanted to share it with everybody. How many have heard this a million times? And I'm going to remind you of it one more time. People will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. It's the other reason why all the tech and the AI aren't going to affect the fundamentals of human beings with emotions. We're emotional beings. If you walk away from an interaction with me and you don't feel great, I'm going to lose in that relationship and in life. So who you are as a person is your real brand. Don't forget that. All the noise, all the stuff you think it's about, when you go on social media and you see everybody doing all this stuff, if you're solid with them and you care, if Amy made that call to Phil and he was a client of hers, are they going to call anybody else to help them when they have needs in the future? There ain't no way. You will cut through all the noise, all the crap, because you really care. And then, are you good at what you do? So, I thought this was great. No one's going to read your production report at your funeral. We're not going to put the trophies in there with you. We've had some real loss in our company in the last year or two. It's been really rough. But I've been to all the funerals, and we don't talk about that. Nobody talks about it. What really matters is what matters, and that's how you're going to connect with people. And so I just think we're in a world, in the real estate world, we're very susceptible to it. It's easy. I've done it all myself, but I'm telling you, next level connection tied in with the daily minimum standards is where you will win, and you will become bulletproof to whatever market you're in, with fewer people, by the way. So, any questions about all that? I'm going to move on to this expectations. And we had so much material I could have done the whole day on this, but I'm going to share with you a few things, hopefully a few takeaways. Maybe it's a catchphrase, maybe it's an approach, something you can say or do. And if any of you have anything you want to share that you think works, let me know. But managing expectations in a normal market. If it had been normal, this would just be normal. We wouldn't have to talk about it. But here's the deal. So, great agents don't react. They educate and they guide. They're a leader. How many times do I talk about being an advocate to your clients? You walk alongside them. Let me make another point. I think weak agents who aren't very confident overcompensate, and they go in trying to tell people what they need to know. If you really know your stuff, you don't have to do that. You can guide them through the process. I've said this many, many times. When you get with your sellers, they're the hero of the story. Every great novel, every great piece of literature, there is a theme in life that we all like. We're all the hero of our own story that we tell ourselves in our head every day, right? You're your own hero of your story. When you go to work with clients, stop trying to be the hero. Great analogy. They're Luke Skywalker, and you need to be Obi-Wan. You're the coach. You're the trusted advisor. But this is their deal. It's their house. It's their move. It's not you. Stop making it all about you. Be there to support and help them. And I think you would be amazed they'll feel special. They need to feel heard and valued. It's not all about your stuff. And if you really know your stuff, you don't need to have to show them all your stuff because you've got the goods, right? So I think it's really critical. They educate and they guide. They listen. So a couple little things, just a few tangible things. I've said this the last 3 sessions I've ever done. Who in here knows how to calculate an absorption rate and use it when they go on listings or to get a price reduction? I see maybe 5 to 10 hands, if that. That's probably less than 10% here. Okay, if you want an arrow in your quiver to be highly effective with sellers, you need to be able to use data and use the market and separate yourself because you're not, they want to shoot the messenger if they don't like what they're hearing. They can be mad at the market, but they better not be mad at you. You lose the relationship if they're mad at you. You're just there to interpret the market. So when you go on a listing, you better have the absorption rate ready, prepared to share with them. In a market where the seller's expectations are probably off, you need to be able to share this. So here's how you do it. We're giving you the formula right now. You pick the segment of the market that you're in. Pick the comps that you know are competing comps. Not the whole market, competing comps. If there's plenty of comps in that neighborhood, you're good. That area, you're good. But the competing active comps, and then you also look at the sales. And you say, how many have sold in X number of months? Is it 1 month? If there's enough data, 1 month. Usually 2 months or greater. If there's enough data and you got to go out 4 months, fine, it doesn't matter. Get the data, divide it by the months, and now you have what's considered to be an absorption rate. That means, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, homes in your price range are selling at a rate of about 2.1 homes a month. I'll have an example up here in a minute. Maybe I should just go to the example. But this is the rate that the market is absorbing these homes. We'll use this example, sorry. 9 sales in 3 months. That's 3 sales a month. Simple math, right? But when you search, right now there's 6 for sale. So guess what? Right now, if we list today at the rate that the market's working right now, we've got about a 2-month supply of homes on the market. So it's probably not going to sell next week. Unless you want to price it below market, which we can if you want to make it hot. You want to make a really hot price? Oh, no. They don't want to do that, right? No, they always want the most they can get and say, well, I'll tell you what, if you want to push the market and maybe list it a little bit over what we have determined as fair market value, That's totally fine. You just need to be comfortable that this is probably going to take a little longer than 2 months. Are you comfortable with that? They don't like that. How many here have sellers that want their cake and eat it too? Right? Yeah. How fun is it when they think you're the one telling them they can't have it? You can say, well, we can do whatever you want. It's your choice. You're letting them maintain control, but you've got to find a way to put this into play, especially in a market that's decelerating, because your sellers are going to turn on you. They're going to get frustrated. You're going to have a rough time with it because you maybe were off in the beginning and you didn't set the expectations right. So conversely, if you do get listed for a while and it's not selling and they're frustrated, you need to go rerun it, recalculate it, and say, look, there's been 2 or 3 sales. I've re-looked at this. This is nuts, but there's now a 2.5-month supply of homes on the market. There's people coming into the market. They're putting pressure on us to compete, and the only way we're going to deal with this is to give it more time or maybe make an adjustment in our pricing strategy. Make sense? Who in here has these kind of conversations with their sellers? Yeah, great. I talk to agents every single week who tell me they got a tough listing that's just not selling. Most of the time, they're not having this conversation with them because they're what? Scared. Because what might happen? Might lose the listing, might not be happy with them, and then what really happens anyway? Anybody in your business, been over business 10 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You got to be straight up with them. And before you do all this, by the way, when you go in early, especially right now, ask permission to be totally honest with them. Get permission. You know, what do you guys want out of today? Ask great questions. Do you want me to be totally upfront with you about where we are in the market? I know you guys have some real goals here, and we're going to talk about that. Get permission to do those kind of things. We have a book, I didn't bring it up here, Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. This book is amazing. Everybody needs to buy the book. We're giving one away today. QR code's up here. This book is absolutely phenomenal. And if you walk out of here and just take 2 to 5 of these phrases and put them in play in your business, you're going to be a better agent. Period. So, it gets into the science behind why certain phrases work and why they're effective. We're just going to give you a few here. How important is it to you? Great agents ask great questions. How would you feel if? Well, I'll tell you what, how would you feel if we don't get it sold right now and the kids start school? What would you do if? Put the questions on them. The way that you're effective with people is for you to lead them to make their own informed decisions. Not to tell them. They got to process it. They got to think about it. Great advisors and counselors coach them up on the decisions they're going to have to make. And the problem is they always want their cake and eat it too. We all do. So they're not going to make that decision because it's really hard. And they you got to take them to the crossroads where they got to kind of decide what they would do if. That's how you're going to be more effective with them. But they don't want to do that. They want to just say, well, I really want 489, and let's just see what happens. That is a human resisting making the decision. If you can get them to make that decision or deal with that up front, you're going to be far more effective with them because that's the position they're going to be in. And when they don't want to make it and then later they got to deal with it and it stinks, they're probably going to potentially turn on you. So, help me understand. I hear what you're saying. Help me understand why that's important to you. Maybe they said something that's just crazy, off the wall. Help me understand where you're coming from here. What would that mean to you if? I bet you're a bit like me. What does that do? We're the same. One of the things you're going to find about when you're with people is they want to make sure that you have things in common because it is human nature. The old psychology chart, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. People want to belong and be part of something. They don't want to be an outlier. Well, if you're anything like me and my wife, this would drive you crazy right now, right? What makes you say that? We did a book club on this. It was awesome. Before you make up your mind. So these are some phrases for you to incorporate when you're with people. The way you're going to be effective is questions, not telling them everything you know. All right, a couple framework things. Reminders again. I've talked about all these forever. Empathy first. In Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, seek first to understand, then be understood. I wasn't going to talk about this, but Jefferson Fisher, in his great book that he has some rules to communicating. Number 1, never win an argument. Never win. What happens when you win an argument? Who in here is married and won an argument with their spouse? How'd that turn out for you? Yeah, exactly. Dave, you've never won an argument with Pam. But my point is this. If you're in a relationship and you felt like you had a point to make and you won an argument, what, in terms of the emotional bank deposit and everything that you're doing with them, what have you done? You've probably hurt yourself. They don't feel very good about you. So when you're working with all these clients and prospecting, or you're in a tough situation and they're arguing and you have a point to make, encountering inspections or pricing or whatever it is, like, well, we're going to wait till tomorrow and you know they're going to lose the house. You got to be careful, because if you win arguments, you're going to lose. You're going to win the battle, lose the war. So be mindful of that. Empathy first. I use this all the time. It is probably one of the best phrases I could ever coach anyone on in terms of redirecting a conversation to a positive outcome. Feel, felt, found. You can use it in any scenario you want. I understand how you feel. I've had a lot of clients who felt the same way. It actually comes up more than you would realize. What we've found is if we can maybe do an updated market, maybe let me call the other agent and see where they're at with their timing, we can find a really good solution. It's a way to reframe, but more importantly, redirect objections in conversations. Feel, felt, found. Understand how I feel. Had several who felt the same way. Again, feel included. I'm not different. I'm not the only one who's a pain in the butt. Here's what I found. You're showing competency, knowledge, experience. I've been there before. And you're presenting a solution that is the solution you want, that's the right direction for them. Make sense? Data. Tyler was here and he showed some amazing stuff 2 months ago on AI and all kinds of data. Jim in the back told me about some really cool stuff with market data that he uses for chat to share with his people. But again, the tool's powerful, but it's only powerful if he takes it and sits down with people and shares the information in the right way. So you need to be able to use data, you need to be able to do a good market, you need to use the absorption rate, et cetera. And then lead with confidence. I would say this, if you haven't done your homework, isn't it hard to be confident on an appointment and wing it? I'm just telling you, they can smell blood in the water. So if you're not ready, they're going to chew you up. So anyway, these are some just little things you could be doing with your buyers and sellers. I'm using a lot of seller examples. You can do the same thing with buyers. Any questions about any of that? People do not buy houses. They don't buy houses. They buy trust. They buy someone to help them. They can find the homes. They can all get on their app and find every home on the market, unless you find something off market. But that's not very often. They are hiring someone to help them make a good decision. They're hiring someone sometimes to make them feel good about what they're doing and not make a mistake. And that's what we've forgotten about. Before, it didn't matter. Would everyone agree 4 years ago they could overpay for a home and it didn't really matter? They just had to get it. It's not going to work anymore. Okay, any questions about any of that? Okay, hopefully you had a couple takeaways you can incorporate with your sellers and buyers. I'm going to keep moving here. Building a sustainable pipeline. Consistently prospecting gives you power and confidence. This is the magic in a lot of what we're doing right now too. I want to mention this. If I could, my IT guys, my one screen is not working and the other one is, just FYI. I got a big truth bomb here for you. You create tension in your business if you're not consistently prospecting. What's the tension? You create tension in your business if you're not consistently prospecting. You lose all your power. When I say power, I don't mean to coerce people. If you have a seller who's unrealistic and you're not prospecting, guess what you don't really feel very good about doing? Walking away. Maybe on a far lesser scale, just saying what you need to say, having the courage to ask the questions, having the courage to redirect and let them know what they need to be effective on the listing. So when you are not prospecting, you lose all of your ability to be confident and you lose your power to be effective. Everyone agree with that? So by not doing the work that you need to be doing daily, you're putting yourself in a weak position with every single client you're working with all the time. I see it all the time. Go back to the sunk cost fallacy, same deal. I don't want to let go of it because I've invested a lot of time. If you were doing what you needed to do and you had 6 active buyers and 8 listings that were hot, or 4 listings, would you invest so much time in somebody who was not going to work? You would not. You've lost all your power to be effective. Okay, so I'm going to lay this out, and I think this is a business plan that we really prescribe to, but I think it's a mindset, and if you understand this concept, what I'm going to share with you right now should change how you go about your business every day. And all these materials we're going to share with you as well. Okay, here is how it really works. If you don't want to cast a wide net and spend tens of thousands of dollars on leads, here's how it really works. Who in here has a database? Many of you have heard me say this. Most of you. Maybe only half. Please raise your hand again. Who has a database? Okay, most of you. Here's the deal. It takes 14 emotional deposits to create top of mind and trust with a human being. And I keep talking about trust. I'm talking about going deeper, not wider. 14. We coach agents to have a business plan of connecting with their database before they do anything else. 18 to 24 times a year and varied in different ways. Let's just say it's 18. This gets overwhelming right away, right? Who in here is like, oh my God, 18? I got to touch base with everybody on there 18 times. Well, the truth is, it's not that overwhelming when you break it down just like anything. And I'm going to show you a tool that we use that you can all have to get to 18 touches. But 18 touches might be 6 postcards. It might be 4 calls a year. It might be a text check-in. It might be a client party. It might be, and one of the coolest things I've seen in a while, and I'm going to pick on Tim Haver in the back. Has anybody seen his video series he just launched, I don't know, in the last 3 or 4 days, 5 days? Right, Tim, recently? He's giving away these amazing tins, and I don't even know if I know what's in them, but he's chronicled and cataloged what he's giving away to all his clients. It's logoed, and he's actually even shared with them where he's going to do his route, how he's going to deliver to them, and what he's bringing to them. The impact of that connection is massive. He does a ton of business, but the fact that he's chronicling it, and a lot of his database is going to see it on social media, and then he's going to go out to their house and he's going to invest the time, which nobody wants to do anymore, the connection is big time. So if you can make these number of deposits, you're going to create a condition with your people. So if you had a 100-person database, and many in here I think probably have a lot more than 100, but if you had 100 and you found your way and you mapped out how to connect with them 18 times, you create a condition with these 100 people that you're their agent. Every human being, used to be 5, now it's 4, at least in the US, comes into contact with, on average within a year, 4 people who are considering buying or selling a home. Every year, 4. 4. So, in this case, 100-person database, potentially 400 deals are inside your database. The growth of your business is inside your business, not outside your business. If I create the right condition with those 100 people, what people don't know is the capture rate is only 5%. It's 5. Could be better. If they're doing what Tim's doing or what some other people are doing, maybe it's higher. But 5. So 400-person potential deals out of your only 100-person database. 5%, this example might say 25. I think it used to be 5 deals a year per person. It's 4 now. That's 20 transactions from a 100-person database if you create the condition that you're the one, that you call when the kids are sick, you stop by the house, you check in when you see them on social media that their kids won an award or got a Scholastic award, whatever, and then your other campaigns are working. Just get to 18. We'll talk about how to get there. In our markets, in every market that we serve with the average price right now, which is about $280 other than the Lakes region, the average commission is $6,000 or so, or more. 20 deals out of a 100-person database is a six-figure income for you before you did anything else, because you took the time to go deeper and not wider. And this is where I'm seeing people miss the game. Let's say somebody did 15 or 20 deals and they want to get better. What do? They go buy more ads, and then they sign up for Zillow, and then they do this and they do that, and they start casting a wider net. What you need to do is find a way to make your 100 peeps, make them 110, 120, because guess what? You're exponentially growing a repeatable business with people that care about you. They're not going to ghost you. They're not going to not show up. They're much more loyal. And it's a repeatable business that is in so many ways bulletproof to the market, to competition, to everything. You can do all those other things, but you need to make sure you are doing this first. If you're not doing this first, every dime, every minute that you spend on other things is not the best use of your time or money. I'm not saying it's a bad use. I'm not saying it's not getting a return. It will never get you the return of this, ever. I've been doing this a long time. If you buy into this, your business will change. The simple solves the complex. Say it all the time. This is simple, but it's not easy. Real quick, emotional deposits calendar. We've laid this out. This is just a snapshot of it. We've laid out by month all the different ways that you can contact your clients. Reasons to call, an email or a text, a mail or postcard. And then down the right side, it's laid out all the quarterly things you can do that might be a higher touch, higher engagement activity. Client parties, et cetera, et cetera. So you can literally on one sheet of paper, and you're all going to get this, lay out as an agent, you want to come up with some big fancy business plan, go ahead and do it. But if you're not going to do the work every day and it's not simple, it doesn't matter. You can go to a 3-hour business planning session all you want and break it down. And I have a 15-page business plan. But the deal is this. You can back into all that, but unless you're willing to do the work on the front end to create the condition with your people, you're spinning your wheels. You're going to be fairly transactional. You're going to be susceptible to the market and competition and all those other things. So,
Or real estate agents?
Oh.
Real estate agent.
I'm going to back up here. I'm going to show you a quick video. Anybody know Gary Vee? Yeah, I got a Gary Vee reel I'm going to show for everybody. This ties into this in terms of what I talked about, your messaging, talking to them about meeting them where they are, maybe about real estate, maybe not. They're not in real estate, right? So I'm going to play this clip real quick, and then I'll get back to it.
Or real estate agents? Real estate agents, I'm telling you, much more content about the towns that you sell in. Much more. Go interview the principal of the high school and put that on your social media for all the people that are considering to move and really care about the school system. Go interview the entrepreneur who's had a 50 years family restaurant business in town. Be the mayor or the newspaper of your town with your social, because if every single post coming out of your mouth is this open house and buy this, you're gonna lose the audience. You can't close on every breath. And the fact that social media is free, it's free. I don't know if anybody here has done other marketing besides organic posting on social media, but you can't go buy a full page ad in a newspaper for free. You can't run a commercial on TV for free. For the real estate agents, like the billboards and the bench ads at the bus stop, not free. Everything else costs money. The fact that every single person now can post one post on TikTok and get hundreds of thousands of people to see it based on the merit of the content, that is bananas.
Okay, makes sense? What do people care about? Well, if they happen to be during that little window in their life where they need housing, they care about housing. But the rest of the time, they don't care. So this is a key concept I want to get across to everybody. I've talked about this before. I'm going to say it again, because this is what, when you are out prospecting and looking for deals. Tom Ferry, we did a bunch of research on Tom Ferry. Love him, really creative. He says that for experienced agents, it takes 40 calls to find a transaction. His dad, Mike, who's he's a call guy, prospector, he says it takes 80 calls for a new agent to find a deal and 40 calls for an experienced agent to find a deal. That is a very transactional mindset. I love Tom Ferry and I like Mike Ferry. But people go through life like this. If you leave here anything about your marketing efforts, remember this. And this is why the emotional deposits work. People only move now every 8 to 10 years. It used to be 4 to 5, then it was 6 to 7. It's 8 to 10. They come out of college and they rent, and then they get a job and they go through life and they make some money and they really want to have a home. And the window opens and they have housing needs and they buy a home. They find you or somebody and they buy. But guess what? The window closes and they're going through life 8 to 10 years, and then they get married, and then they have kids, and then a window opens or closes. You get the picture. And then they have more kids, and then they get a promotion. And they go through life, and all these life events happen that create windows when they have housing needs. But the deal is this, I said it earlier, at any given time, it's only 4% of the population. And you're out running around making 80 calls to find somebody that's in their 40%. That's the short game. That is hunting. And you can do it, and we have people that do it that have been successful at it, but it's a tough road to go if you're going to have longevity in the business. I would say this, it is a rare bird that loves doing that for 20 or 30 years and makes great money. Would everybody agree? Anybody been in the business a long time would agree with that? If you're doing that, it's a tough way to go and it doesn't work. So when you're running around prospecting, just know you got a 4% chance. Now you tell me there's not a better use of your time. Now if you're doing what we're talking about and it's all in play, and then you want to go do something else, do it. Layer it in. But if you're not doing this first, I'm just telling you, you're not going to get the results you want and have the career and the business that you want. So we struggle with this. What are the key conversations, actions, and things that you need to be doing? We throw up some examples, but I want to say this right now. For everybody, based on the size of your database and where you're at in your career, this could be different for everybody. I don't have this in the presentation, but who in here knows what you need to do on a daily basis to really move the needle in your business? Like what it really is a minimum daily standard in your business. All right, can I ask? Jim, do you know what it is? Sorry, I threw that out of nowhere on him, sorry.
I block off about 90 minutes every morning that I engage with my database, 10 calls, 10 texts, 10 emails.
10 calls, 10x, 10 emails. And what was before that, the first thing you said?
I block off 90 minutes.
Yep.
Engage with my SOI.
Yep.
10 texts, 10 calls, 10 emails.
Yep.
And then I also, and there's no number to this because it's contingent on what I see on my feed.
Yeah.
But I engage with all of my SOI's posts. So rather than me posting constantly, which I do, I'm always responding to life events, first day of kindergarten, marriage,
yes,
all that stuff.
Yeah, that's great. 90 minutes blocked off every morning, 10 calls, 10 texts, 10 notes, is that right? Emails, yes. Okay, so Eric or Bob, did one of you raise your hand or both? Bob. Dave's getting to work. Oh, there we go. He already had a mic.
For me, it's the accountability we've been doing all
Yes.
year, and just the 5 conversations every day, either video text, text message, AI-generated email every week, and they're starting to get open rates, so that's good, starting to get a good following there. And then 1 hour a day of spiritual input into my life has just been a great success for me this year.
That's awesome. He's identified the triggers that matter, the levers. Eric, did you have something you wanted to say? Hey, Bob, would you mind passing that down?
So daily is doing my daily gratitudes and affirmations, and then at least weekly is spending an hour per week working my newsletter, so I'm not doing it last minute before the day that is due.
Right. Okay, great. Newsletter, daily affirmations. Right. I'm not going to get into all this today, but excuse me. You have got to identify the levers in your business, and if you understand some of these concepts about the 14 emotional deposits, meaning 18 touches a year, you can automate so much of it, right? So much of it. Of the 18, 12 could easily be automated. That just leaves you with 6. If you have a database of 100, you could just pick a quarter and divide it and just break it down to the minimum daily standards. For most people, and almost everybody I talk to, I think 10 is a magic number. We put 5 on here. For most people, 3 a day, and you're going to kill it. If you have a bigger database, maybe more. It can be whatever you want. But you need to identify the daily minimum standards if you're going to create real leverage in your business. Here's a great analogy. Small hinges swing big doors. Small hinges swing big doors. You want levers in your business? Decide that you need to make 5 calls a day and make 5 calls a day and forget everything else. And I guarantee you have more results than all the other noise and all the other crap we all get thrown at all the time. It sounds crazy. It's nuts that I'm going to have a seminar and tell everybody just make 5 calls a day. The problem is there's so much noise. It all works, but none of it works if you do all of it half-assed. Pick something that works, that is a lever to connect with your people. When you understand what's really going on, that's the difference. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Bring solutions to their challenges. When I talk about meeting people where they're at, we did this today here with you. I'm in the real estate agent business. I'm not selling houses. I'm here to help you. You shared with us where your pain is and where your struggle is. I can guarantee you, whether it's I get it all answered for you today, we are going to find ways in our training and our success videos and whatever we do to provide great solutions for your struggles. You need to be doing the same thing for your clients. Figure out whatever's going on in their life that you might be able to provide resources and help them. And it's not usually about real estate. So the emotional deposits calendar, we're going to make sure everybody gets a copy of this thing. Who in here has ever heard of the Zillow Home Hook way to reach out to people? We push this hard in our company. We had several people do it. Would you be willing to share your story? So here's a concept on the Zillow Home Hook, and do you want to tell them what it was, and then I'll just let you share it?
Yeah, so Todd and Jacqueline were at the office one day. He shared this, and he said, anybody want to go do it? So I did it, and I sent it out to 5 people, and what it is you send out a text message, and you look up what their Zestimate is, and you just send it to them and say, hey, here's what your Zestimate is. What do you think of this number? And then they respond back and ended up getting a listing appointment on the very first one that I sent. And I kind of looked at Todd. I came right back in and I said, you're not going to believe this. So it was pretty neat. But it's kind of just getting them to think about their value of their home and then asking them from there, would you like me to run a more accurate analysis for you? So.
Right. Lucky us, it worked on the first time, right? That didn't always happen. I know we have people that did a lot of that. But what do people want to hear about when you're connecting with them, right? Meet them where they're at. They want relevant financial information. What seller doesn't care about what their home's worth right now? Every single one. I heard a great one the other day. And I talked to Jacqueline yesterday, and she had just done it. Every year when people's homeowners insurance come up, call them on their anniversary, not just to wish them happy anniversary, to say, hey, you know what? It's crazy in the insurance industry. They never seem to reward loyalty. They seem to rates go up and up and up. I just want to call you and say happy anniversary, it's coming up. But have you looked at your homeowner's insurance prices? Have you shopped it? I've got a great insurance person that is awesome for you to touch base with, because the rates just kind of go up and up and up, right? Until you go make a switch and then you get a great deal from somebody else. What a great reason to connect with your database, provide real value with a great idea that they're not thinking about it. So those are the kind of things you want to do. But the Zillow Home Hook was extremely effective. When Tyler was here that talked about AI, I talked about this the other day in a meeting with Judy. One thing I took from that meeting, took lots, was this. You can, through ChatGPT, create a wonderfully relevant, meaningful email to hit your database with every week, with current events, community events, realistic real estate information that's valuable, along with links to anything you want in, what, Judy, take 10 seconds? When I hit it, just tell it what you want. It does a great email. You can modify it. You should be hitting your database every week. That's what Tyler said. Somebody said, Tyler, if there was one thing you could do from this whole day, and he blew our mind away. He said, if there's one thing everybody ought to be doing, you ought to be creating a weekly email that goes to your database and email it to them every single week. That's simple. I mean, that's not 18 touches, that's 52. But they might delete it. Guess what? It doesn't matter. Because and as you do it, be willing to fail. What went well? What got in the way? What worked? What didn't? Tweak it. When are the open rates better? I mentioned this before about my AI. I go back and look at all my videos, and some perform better than others. And so what do? We figure out the ones that perform the best, and what were they about? What was the rhythm? Was it about pain, or was it about success? Was it inspirational? Was it about sellers? Was it about buyers? Just figure out what your database responds to, and just let the AI keep making them better and better. So I wanted to mention that. But what really matters is that you do it. So who in here has an accountability partner? Some. Yes, that's great. Accountability is the glue and the magic of performance. We do accountability groups in our company. We do them 4 a year. We got one right now. It's awesome. We ended up, and they're still going. But here's the deal. The days you feel like doing stuff are great. The days you really win and get ahead in your business are when you do stuff when you didn't want to do it. And accountability is what will help you do those kind of things. So I want to mention that. Couple more things about this contact and paying attention with people. And this is all from the book. I was thinking about you today, and who in here, I've had this rule, if I'm ever driving down the road and I have a thought to connect with somebody, and sometimes some of you, I've just decided I need to do it right then. Does anybody do this practice? I see a bunch of hands. It is amazing if you wait, that thought will be lost, that idea will be lost, and you won't do it. The moment I think about Carrie or Bob or Jessica, or Dave, if I think about them, I might just shoot them a text or call them right away and just say, hey, I was just thinking about you, how you doing? Some people are like, oh my God, you didn't have a reason to call them? You know, they're investments in a relationship. When I talk about 14 emotional deposits, going back to that, imagine all our relationships were like ATM machines. And before you ever really rightfully can ask to take a withdrawal from a relationship, you need to make an investment in other people. And in the last 5 years ago, you didn't need to that much. And you're still going to get lucky and not have to do that. But the moment you get a client or somebody off of a Zillow lead or off of an internet lead, you need to immediately connect and need to make them one of your people. And then they need to go into your plan. And what happens is the agents who have done the best for the longest, in my experience, their circle just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they keep working the same process with their circle. And as their circle gets bigger, because everybody knows at least 4, it exponentially, the number of transactions get bigger, and they stay focused by going deeper, not wider with their database. Who do you know? As promised, I could go on and on. Hopefully you guys get some great catchphrases from all this stuff. But here's the one thing I want you to take from this whole building a pipeline. We hire new agents all the time, and they don't come in. It's a whole nother discussion we won't get into today. We can all do everything now, almost anywhere on our phone. DocuSign, zip forms, dot-loop, internet, showing time. We can do everything from our phone. But I guarantee you, if you got nothing from my presentation today, but you just connected with somebody in this room today, you probably got value from getting together. So there's real value in people and all the resources that are here. But when new agents often get in the business, and they think if they don't have a client after they're done onboarding, they don't have anything to do. The truth is, the work to create the condition, that's the work. That is what creates longevity, and that is where the success is at. Your skills need to get better, and they're going to matter more, and you'll convert more, and you'll create more raving fans. But the work that needs done is the 18 touches. If you do that work, everything else will take care of itself. You need to keep working on yourself. You know that old saying, your world won't change unless you change? Your outcome's not going to change unless you change. But if you do this work, your business will change. Dealing with an inspection response, going to a closing, negotiating an offer, showing homes, they're all great. Everybody gets excited about it. You need to flip the switch, because you're going to do that stuff because you're good people, you care, you need to make some money. But what you don't really realize is the real work is creating the condition. That's what changes the game. And then the magic in all this is in the follow-up, which we haven't talked about yet, but I'm just going to say this right now. And I'm going to show a little video coming up. Anybody here know Jared James? I know some people do. Tim's in here somewhere. I know he does. I got a video from Jared James, and this is so true. There's gold in the follow-up. So many of you get somebody that looked or inquired, and then they go away. And almost every agent I know gives up. Jared's got something to say about that. I'm going to play it here.
Let me give you the best advice you'll ever get when it comes to lead conversion. Follow up until you get one of two fingers. Until they give you a finger that says, hey, let's work together, or another one I'm not going to show you that says, let's not work together, you continue to follow up. We have got to stop saying no for other people, because what we have to remember is that everything we do is a demonstration of what they can expect when they make the right decision to work with us. And just because they filled out a form and they were ready at that moment, and then all of a sudden they didn't reply 15 minutes later when we wrote to them, because now they're on to something else, doesn't mean that they're not ready. Doesn't mean they are ready. But if you continue to follow up when you haven't heard from them, 7 months down the road, when you finally hit them at the right moment and they're ready to buy, they're ready to sell, whatever it is, watch. And they respond, they will reply, and they will say, I'm sorry I didn't reply. I'm sorry I didn't. Thank you for following up, because they just weren't ready prior to that. And so we have got to stop saying no for other people. Follow up until we get one of two fingers. The amount of money you are costing yourself is astronomical.
Okay, makes sense? How many people in here have had somebody say, I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you. I appreciated you following up with us. It's amazing. You think who in here, I've heard 50 times or 100 times a week, who in here said, I don't want to bother them? I don't want to bother them. They don't care. They're just not ready. And you're looking at it the wrong way. So you got your database, you're working your 18 deposits, but you're going to be getting leads and inquiries, and you're going to show houses, and then they're going to ghost you, and they're going to go away. You do not go away until they give you one of the two fingers. I'm not going to give them both to you, but one of them is this. Okay, I'm ready, right? The other thing I saw recently, and Gary Vee did it, and I was going to do it today. I didn't think it was totally appropriate, but he had somebody talk about marketing and put themselves out there and connecting with their database. And the problem is we all let our own insecurities get in the way. Well, they might think I'm stupid. My friends are going to make fun of me if I put too many posts out there, or I do a funny video, or I go out there and myself. Who in here is afraid to do video, or is reluctant to do video online because of however, yeah. The truth is every single person probably, myself included, and we do it all the time. And Jared went like this. He had somebody stand up, and she was talking about how she's wanted to do it, but she won't. And he goes, put your hands up, and he goes, turn them over, and then he had her put her two middle fingers up, and he said, now spin around like this. And he goes, the truth is, you're going to find your people, and if you're authentic and pour into people, you're going to attract the people that value you in your life. That's what he was really saying. And when you find those people, they will open up doors you could never open up yourself. And instead of chasing the 4%, focus on the people that do care about you, and that will open up doors you could never open up yourself. That's the real work. And if there's anything you get out of the whole day today, is that that's really the work that needs done. And then don't go away and care about them. So, I'm just going to share this real quick, and maybe we'll pass the mics around. Shannon, you don't need to write all these down. But really quick, is anyone willing to share what has really been working for you right now? In the last 6 months, anything that's been highly effective? Alyssa? Then Megan? Sorry, I didn't let my runners know ahead of time.
Something that I've been doing a lot has been open houses. So a lot of people say open houses don't work or don't, whether it's for my seller, it's getting a lot of people in. I'm getting offers that way on houses that maybe agents aren't showing. And then it's also working for leads. So I keep doing open houses every weekend.
That's great. Chance to connect and to do the work. Most people don't, you didn't have to do the work before. Like, I'm going to go back to Tim. If you don't mind me putting you on the spot, how many hours will you spend prepping and then driving around to deliver all these things over the holidays?
The prep was probably all in all, maybe 10, 12 hours, something like that. By the time I went and bought all the cookie tins, laser etched them, filled them, put the Christmas cards together, ordered them, probably 10 to 12 hours for that. It's going to take me probably literally 60 hours to drive around to everybody's house and deliver them.
Yeah.
I spent, maybe not quite that much really, but some of them are kind of out of town, and you got those onesie twosies that are way out in the middle of nowhere. It takes you 45 minutes to get to their house, kind of thing. So, but I will say, I did 60 homes yesterday, spent about 7 hours doing it, and I don't run into everybody. And honestly, it's best if I don't, because it really slows me down. But the ones that I did run into, they invite me in their home, we have a good discussion. And 2 yesterday said, hey, let's get together first of the year. I want to buy an investment property, or I want to buy some land, or whatever the case is. So I've been doing this since I started real estate. The first year I think I did it like 3, kind of thing, and it's grown to about 328.
How many years have you been in the business?
11 years. So, but every single year, come spring, I get return on it, and it doesn't cost much. I think I spend $10, $12 per person, type of thing. So I'm kind of a cheapskate, so I'll go to Hobby Lobby and clear them out, and every year, and they love seeing me walk in now. They know me. The manager comes over to me and says, well, what are you going to get this year, kind of thing, and then they'll even, sometimes they'll call other stores for me and get them shipped in and that kind of thing. So, but it's by far my best return on investment for what I do every year. So, but it does take time,
yes,
for sure. So luckily I'm really slow right now.
Awesome. So, what an investment of time. 328 deliveries. Comes back in spades. I won't put him on the spot here, but that's a guy doing a lot of business, a lot of units, but he's clearly investing in his people, and what a difference. So thanks for sharing that story. It's awesome. Anybody else want to share what's working for you? Oh, Megan, sorry.
Okay. So I'm new, but in the last 6 months, I feel like there's like a flip that's switched for me, where I really feel confident that I have value to all my clients, and I'm able to tell them, I have, mentors that have all these years of experience, and they're going to help me take care of you. And I have all this time, to invest and pour into you. It's just that confidence and putting myself out there and waiting for people to actually have the need, but have their best interests in mind, has really been very effective for me. And also just my personality is just, I'm very transparent, and I'm a caregiver, and so expressing that and not putting pressure on people to like make a deal when it's actually not in their best interest, I found that's really like paid forward for me. And it's actually made my few clients extremely loyal, as if I've known them my whole life. So
It's great. If you want to build massive trust and credibility with someone, advise them to do something that in the short term is not in your best interest, but in theirs.
Hey, Todd.
Yes.
So for me, I could say the 8 years I've been doing real estate, writing notes is the #1 thing for me. I try to write 2 notes every day, so 10 a week. And it's rewarding for myself as well, because almost every time I get a text message or a phone call from the person saying, thank you so much for the note. And I think somebody was talking over here, when you're looking through Facebook, you can look intentionally for your clients and what they have going on in their life, and it gives you an awesome opportunity to write that note. And again, we all love opening up notes that are handwritten to us. And I'd say, again, probably for me, handwritten notes by far have not only probably built those relationships the most and those emotional deposits you're talking about, but it's also probably been the most rewarding thing for me.
It's great. It's awesome. Anybody else have anything else they want to share that's working? Jennifer, Shannon.
I would piggyback off what Phil just said about we do the birthdays and home anniversaries, We've been collecting birthdays and home anniversaries for like 5 years. So I will say it probably takes us every month, I don't know, probably 6 hours to write just the month's supply. And people text us all the time, like, thank you so much for the birthday card, or, oh, I didn't realize I've already been here 5 years. Wow, the time has flown. So it is a way to connect, and it's personal, because people get lots of texts and calls on their birthday, but they don't get many things in the mail. So I think that's great.
That's great. Thank you. Shannon.
One, two, check. Okay. For me, all that stuff, you guys make me look really bad because I don't do that. But there is something I do, and that is I am out there all the time. I go to the same places every week. I see people at the same place the same night, and then it's become a thing where there's community. Because, if anyone that knows me knows I can't cook, and I don't want to. So I depend on the restaurants here in Fort Wayne to keep me and my family alive. But in so doing, I've developed these amazing community of people in a variety of different areas. Church is a big one, but also the places I go to sustain my life to eat their food. I keep seeing the same people, and then all of a sudden they're like, Shannon, the house across the street from mine just went pending. And I'm like, would you like me to look that up for you right now, tell you what's going on? And you know what? After a while, that's a deposit every single time. So I'm just intentional, and I keep in that community, all those very communities that I'm a part of, and we hang, we're friends, and that is what's helped me when the market has turned, because that investment's been made years ago, and it pays off now.
It's great. It's like it's paying off now versus being the rowboat with no oars 100 feet from Niagara Falls. Because every year I get to February, and somebody's really struggling, and the reality is they probably didn't do what they should have been doing in November, December. If you want to have a great first quarter next year, the next 6 weeks are huge. It's the holidays. It's a great time to connect. You want to start your year off with a bang? It starts like today. Started 2 weeks ago. Okay, anybody else have anything else they want to share? Yeah, Jamie.
I will take my list, and this probably isn't the best thing, but I will pick out the people that I connected with the most or that I enjoyed the most, and I will take the ladies or whatever out to lunch, and I enjoy it, right? They've moved into a house 2, 3, whatever years ago. I will go back, and so like once a year or something, I will go back and have lunch, and how you doing, what's going on, let's go, let's make it happen. And even though I know they're not going to be somebody who's going to be purchasing right now, it's just something to stay connected, to stay a part of it, and I pick the people who are easiest, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, yeah.
Just because then I look forward to it. So now it's like a routine. Oh, well, September, we've got to get together again, kind of. So just
Yeah, you're
something.
investing in them at a much higher level. But like, I hear people all the time say, well, why would I take them to lunch? They're not really doing anything right now. I just sold them the home last year. You're not getting it. They're going to tell their nieces and nephews to call you because Jamie's amazing. Oh my gosh, my brother got relocated. He's coming back, by the way. It's not about them and the 4% of their life that they're thinking about buying or selling. Got to think about this differently. You got to have a mindset shift on people and housing needs. Otherwise, you're going to run around trying to hunt and find something to kill that you got to eat that day versus farming, building relationships, and creating sustainability and a bulletproof business. So anybody else have anything else they want to share? Yes, Pam.
Careful.
Most of our business comes from our past clients or referrals from them. And so we do multiple client events throughout the year. We try to do one quarterly, doesn't always work out, but we have at least 2 that we do consistently, and we have for the last probably 6 or 8 years, and our clients expect it. And they we love the events, we love seeing them, and we have a lot of interaction and set up lunches and dinners after that, so that's worked for us.
That's great. Client events. On average, a client event is 4 to 6 touches. The most leads come from pop-bys and then client events. Personal lunches are massive too, but they're not as much of a lever because you're with one person. So anybody else have anything else they want to share? Yes, Tug. Hannah's on her way. No. Share away.
All right, character's been a big deal. I'm glad that the humility thing was included in there because I've not been someone who's been probably real humble. So it's in the spirit of growing in humility that I want to just emphasize for the attendees. What they've just heard from the last 5 or 6 has been consistency. Just to emphasize, you've pointed that out, but I want to really nail that with consistency. And to put it for your, what is that, lost cost?
Sunk cost.
Sunk cost.
Yeah.
All right, Jude and I have been in the business for 30 years, okay, and it is because we have been there so long that we keep getting calls, okay, even when I've not been consistent. I've not honored what I've known and heard for decades. And this week, we got like 2 return envelopes from a mailing I sent out, I think last week, and you may, 100. And you may think, okay, no big deal. However, they were from 2 people who loved us, gave us great reviews when we helped them, but have moved over whatever time the mail stops forwarding things ago, 6 months, a year ago. And I'm going to emphasize something else, calling people. We stayed in touch passively, but I didn't. And again, these were people who loved us, but they used somebody else who happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Right. Which, there's a lesson, right? Life prescribes. He got punished a little bit, but there's a great lesson there. So that's great. On that note, does anybody have anything else? Because on that note, there's a point I want to make here in closing, because we always finish on time. They've been in this forever. They got an amazing business. Many of you do. You learned some things today. Small hinges swing big doors. What are the key levers in your business? How do you connect with your database 18 times? This is really all about trust and being consistent, knowing your stuff, increasing your skill sets. This is all work. This is all being a pro. But unless you identify the key levers or the key minimum daily standards in your business, and you're not willing to be held accountable to do them every day, it isn't going to matter. You can even know what you need to do and still not do it. You might beat yourself up a little bit more about it because you have a little more guilt, because now you know. Now you've been informed, right? So the magic in so much of this is accountability. So I would challenge everybody in the room to find a way to hold yourself accountable. And that might be you're writing lipstick on your mirror every morning when you're getting ready. Might be an accountability partner. You know, and accountability is used flippantly. I'll use this example. I used this example in Dayton last week when I spoke. Everybody wants accountability until they really get some. What's real accountability? Like, who in here is willing to be held accountable to do something by next week? Debbie just raised her hand. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so here, now what do you want to be held accountable to do?
I would like to be more accountable in my phone calls that I make and my morning routine.
Okay.
After I step foot in the office and
Right.
not at 10:30.
Okay, so it needs to be measurable. So how many calls? And what's your morning routine?
I would like my morning routine to have 3 calls in.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Obviously notes as well. And to have my morning start not past 9 a.m. at the office.
Okay. So 3 calls, start no later than 9 a.m. Keep it super simple. So I want to just go through an exercise real quick in closing about accountability. I mean, accountability is really easy to talk to, believe me, or talk about, I know. But I would say this, real accountability is, okay, Debbie, When we're done here, I want you to write me a $1,000 check to me, and I get to keep it. And I'm going to check in with you every day next week. And if you don't do it, I get to cash the check. Yeah, there we go. Now, there's my point. That's accountability. That's the real deal. When talk is cheap. That's lip service. If you really want to be held accountable, pick a goal. Again, minimum daily standards so small you can't not do it. And then are you really willing to be held accountable to do it? Otherwise, it's just lip service, and you're not being honest with yourself. So find ways to get people in your life, someone or something, where you're truly held accountable. And make it so doggone small that you're not going to lose $1,000 because you got to do it and you're going to do it. But that's real accountability. And so I always say this whenever we have our events. It's all about finding one or two things you can take and incorporate. Hopefully you got some great phrases, maybe a different approach to how you're going to work your database, a little ideas. The absorption rate. If you just take that and start using that on all your listings, you're going to be better off this year. But I would say this. In my opinion, having been around a long time, the real estate world almost lost its professionalism. It got crazy. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'd show up to meetings where someone, I don't even know what they were doing before they got there, but they weren't committed to real estate. But real estate is a really valued profession. And the people who are committed to doing these things and get it and are willing to look inside and be held accountable you're going to outcompete everybody that's around. And you're going to see a ton of people get out of the business in the next 6 to 18 months because it's been hard. And the longer that it's hard, as much as you don't like that, if you have the right mindset, you're like, bring it on. This is great because it is kind of hard, but I'm going to embrace it and get better. And everybody else can't hang because you're doing the things that really matter. One last other point. All the AI stuff, all the technology, the apps, they're all awesome. But you need to take them and use them to accomplish the things that I talked about today. Find ways. I talked to Jim. I think he did something that saved him 2 or 3 hours in a second. We do things now that would take me 2 or 3 hours a week. I'm doing them in 5 minutes. Find ways to leverage the technology and the tools and the resources, but the end game is still the same. It's trust with people that are invested in you. They're going to open doors that you can never open up yourself. Lastly, I want to mention this. When you raise your standards, you're going to elevate everybody around you. So I want to give you all a big round of applause from me and a big thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself and get better at your craft, because most people are not doing this, and you're going to outcompete them, and you're going to have a thriving career, and you're going to be still around doing this down the road. So I want to give you a big thank you. And then we have a giveaway. We always do a raffle and giveaway. So I'm going to call Jacqueline up here, and we're going to give away a few books, and we'll sign off for the day. So thank you all for spending the time. So we have 7 things we're giving away today. Do we have cards in here? Yes. Oh, great. Why don't we let Dave draw? Oh, yeah. Oh, there's that. Okay, first book, The Next Conversation by Jefferson Fisher. It's amazing. When I talked about the guy that had the 3 rules of communication, never win an argument. Okay, here we go. It was from him. Jamie Barker. All right. There you go. Okay. Next book, Cues. We've done training in the past on body language. 90% of all communication is nonverbal. This lady is amazing. I haven't read it yet. I've watched every reel and several videos by her. It's on my desk right now. It's my next read. It is all about reading people when you're with them, how they're responding to you, bettering your ability as an agent. So here we go. See who we get here. Donna Arnett. Donna, here you go. Okay, The Agent's Edge, written by Jordan Cohen. He was the #1 RE/MAX in the entire United States. Sold Kobe Bryant his home. Wrote a great book. Jennifer, I think, knew him. Maybe same office you worked in, right? Yes. Great book. All about the business, all different facets. Angela Pasciuta. Here you go, Angela. Okay. Amazing book. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. This is how to stop sabotaging yourself, by the way, and create some real success. They're all sticking together here. Teresa Bagowitz. All right, here you go, Teresa. I've been preaching this book forever. One small change, one small step can change your life. It's about the Kaizen way. It's about all the little minimum standards. This book is amazing. Been talking about it for years. If you get this book, read this book. All right. Aaron Wright. So here he goes. Okay, we talked about this book today. Exactly what to say for realtors. This is all the sayings, all the science behind it, and all the circumstances in which to use those things. So, all right, I'm trying to look the other way here. Mandy Kratzer. Mandy, this is for you. Okay, and then this was Jacqueline's idea. It was great. This is a daily planner that talks about priority, habits, goals, habit stacking. It's a really comprehensive, awesome day planner that I think you'll find valuable. So, here we go. One more. Alyssa Lindstrand. So, Alyssa, this is for you. She's in the back. All right, thanks, Jacqueline. So, anyway, big shout out to all of you. Thanks for being here. We're about 4 minutes over, but appreciate your time. Have a great holiday season. If you need anything or have questions about anything, let us know, and you'll get all the follow-up materials and a recording of the event. Have a great holiday. Thanks for being here. Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.